you turned down Star Wars to do this movie, which is amazing. But there's been some talk that you were in negotiations to maybe join up, or if in the world of Tomorrowland imagination, we're in the world of optimism here, where anything is possible. Is there
go back in time and have several lifetimes to do every movie you ever thought you'd want to do?
Yes, you can.
That's okay.
Because we're not complaint rock.
Cloning multiple
We're about
birds.
We're not
solutions.
complaint
I have a
rock.
time turner in my bag. Is there any particular part of that world that would interest either of you? Would it be the Boba Fett movie? Would it be something else?
I think we're both big Star Wars fans, and you know.
Meh.
It'll
You
do.
assumed that I was
Huge.
going to jump
Oh, no,
ship
I thought-
immediately.
You
I
did
thought-
the McConaughey during the trailer. I know you did.
No, I thought you. Oh, I totally did. I wept.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I thought you were Gonzo. Like, I definitely, was like, they just offered Brad Star Wars, and we were about 6 weeks out, and you were scouting in Florida, and I was like, I looked down at my phone, and it was you and your little smiley face, and I was like, he's about to bounce. And
What
he
was
didn't.
really funny is we were having conversations on the phone during this, and we were in Florida. I was scouting and having to keep the secret from everybody that we were scouting, because it's like, that's a buzzkill immediately. But there was this episode of South Park that appeared as this was going on, and I was completely blown because there was a shot from it. I even tweeted you the shot.
Yep, it was Cartman.
Yeah, it was Cartman, and behind him was a lightsaber, and in front of him was the Space Mountain from Tomorrowland.
Was it like a sign?
And well, God, it was happening right. I mean, yeah, it was like a super unbelievable scene from a movie. Like, I don't accept that at all, but it happened right in front of me.
So you went forward to Space Mountain?
Well, it's
The moral of the story is, what would Cartman do?
yeah,
exactly.
Because Cartman
When in
is
doubt,
very reliable.
He's a good
yeah.
role model.
Yeah, no, George had committed at that point. I love Star Wars, but Star Wars is going to get made whether I do it or not. They wouldn't delay Star Wars for me to do Tomorrowland. And the idea that Tomorrowland, momentum is fragile. And movies need momentum. And we had a lot of momentum on Tomorrowland, and I really loved what the movie was. And I thought, there's a chance that Tomorrowland won't get made simply because it loses its momentum.
Yeah.
I mean, movie is a weird thing. It's not a tangible thing. You have this wispy cloud that you're kind of trying to solidify. And I thought it deserved to be made. And Star Wars is a very robust thing right now, and it's going to be fine.
The sky's the limit with the anthologies.
No,
Right.
I would also say, though, that I think that, both as fans, but also as storytellers.
But Star Wars was an original film once too,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly, which is that on for Brad as a director, or for me as a writer, the things that you get offered, or the things that are out there, literally 19 out of 20 of them are all franchises based on existing properties, comic books, that sort of thing wouldn't be necessarily considered originals. And then if you start working on an original and you get very pregnant with it, at any time you could get that phone call that's basically like, but are you really going to say no to Boba Fett? Are you really going to say no to Spider-Man? Are you really going to say no to Star Wars? And that's why I think a lot of original films don't get made, is because it takes Christopher Nolan saying, no, actually, I'm going to be working on Interstellar now. Like,
Or Inception.
like this one's for me. And I think that, Brad's leaving out the part of the story, and in the grand spirit of narcissism, I have to put myself into the story, which is, it was his choice and his choice to make alone. But when I called him up, I said to him, look, if it were me, I would go and do Star Wars. I mean, like, I don't know how you say no to that. Like, now, what Brad didn't understand is this is an old Jewish trick. It's an old, like, look, you go with God, and you go with the Force. Like,
It's like
completely
the
and totally.
mind trick.
I wasn't. It wasn't. It was what I was genuinely feeling, and I brought myself all the way to the point where the movie was going to collapse, and then when he said that he was staying, it was just this amazing experience, and the movie only exists right now because of it. And obviously JJ has directed episode 7, and everything that I'm seeing and hearing about it is
very
fantastic.
excited to see it.
But I'm really glad that Brad stayed.